R&B singer Toni Braxton is finally telling the world how hard her life has really been, and it's not what most people expect. On the outside, she's a Grammy-winning superstar with hit songs like Unbreak My Heart and Breathe Again. But behind the scenes, she says she's been carrying the weight of her entire family for years. Toni said that her sister Traci once told her, "Toni, when you make it, you can help us come on." So Toni took that seriously. She tried her best to support everyone. But now she says the pressure of helping everyone became too much. She felt like she could never live her own life because she always had to look out for her family. She kept quiet for a long time, but since doing the family reality show Braxton Family Values, Toni started speaking up. She told everyone that she has been the one holding it all together. Toni also shared that things started early for her. When she was just 14 years old, her mum had a really bad fall and hurt her back. Their mum had to stay in the hospital for a long time, so while their dad was out working to provide for the family, Toni had to step up and be a surrogate parent to her brothers and sisters. That means she had to take care of them like a parent would. Can you imagine being 14 and already raising 5 siblings? Someone asked Toni what her life would have looked like if she didn't have all that pressure and responsibility. She said, "Oh, I would have soared higher, absolutely." That's a big thing to say, but when you hear her story, it makes sense. Toni isn't just any artist. She's one of the most successful R&B singers ever. She has sold more than 70 million albums and won 7 Grammy Awards. Her first solo album came out in 1993 and sold over 10 million copies. It went all the way to #1 on the Billboard charts. Her second album, Secrets, had the huge hit Unbreak My Heart, which is still one of the biggest songs of all time. But even with all that fame and money, Toni says that she didn't get to enjoy it like she should have. Why? Because she had to take care of her whole family. She says she was the one paying the bills while some of her sisters sat back. According to Toni, only one sister, Tamar, actually helped with money. Tamar was trying to pitch in even before she became rich and famous. The other sisters just expected Toni to handle everything. It hurt Toni even more when some of her sisters, like Traci and Towanda, demanded to get paid for working with her. Toni said Tamar never charged her for anything. She even sang backup for free. But Traci and Towanda still wanted money every time they worked with Toni, even though Toni was the one taking care of the family behind the scenes. She felt like everyone just saw her as a bank and not as a sister. Even though Toni Braxton was the one helping her whole family, she was also struggling with money herself. You might think that with all those hit albums and millions of records sold, she would be super rich, right? But Toni had some major money problems. It turns out that her record label was making most of the money, not her. She was actually getting paid less than 35 cents for every album she sold. That doesn't even sound fair. Toni worked hard and made over $170 million for her record label. But she didn't see much of that money in her own bank account. She ended up filing for bankruptcy. And it didn't happen just once. Toni had to file for bankruptcy more than one time in her career. The first time, she also filed a lawsuit against her label. She said the contract was so bad that she got less than $2,000 in royalties. That's right, only $2,000, even after all the music videos, travel, and studio time she had to pay back. Things got so bad that people even accused her of moving money to her husband to avoid paying back what she owed. It was a very stressful time for her. On top of that, she had a really bad experience on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She thought the interview would help people understand her financial situation. Instead, she felt embarrassed and judged. Oprah asked her tough questions and even brought up her spending habits. She said, "I hear you have Gucci flatware." "I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware." Toni said she didn't even know Gucci made silverware, but Oprah made her feel small. That moment really changed the way people looked at Toni. Some even started to blame her for her money problems. And it didn't stop there. In 2010, Toni had to file for bankruptcy again. But this time, it wasn't just about bad contracts. Toni had been diagnosed with lupus and microvascular angina, which are serious health problems. She was performing in Las Vegas, but when her health got worse, she had to cancel her shows. That meant she lost a lot of money. The insurance didn't help cover the losses, so Toni had to pay all the costs herself. Putting on a show in Vegas isn't cheap. You have to pay for the lights, the crew, the hotel rooms, and more. Toni said people don't realize how much it costs to perform, and that in the end, she was left with nothing. Then, in 2019, more trouble came her way. The IRS said she owed over $340,000 in back taxes from 2017. That's not all. California's tax board also said she owed over $116,000. Altogether, she was facing nearly $500,000 in taxes. People started wondering if all the money troubles were really just because of bad contracts, or if helping her whole family for years had also played a big part. Things started to get even more tense when the Braxton family show returned. Behind the scenes, the sisters were not getting along. The biggest fight was over money. Toni and Tamar were being paid more than the other sisters, and that caused some serious drama. The other sisters didn't understand why they weren't getting the same amount. But Toni believed she deserved more because of her music success and everything she had done for the family. There were reports that things got so bad during filming that producers had to stop everything. A huge argument broke out, and Toni actually walked out. She was so upset that she said she was done with the show. Before their sister Traci passed away, they all promised her they would stick together and get along. But now, it seems like that promise is broken. Toni feels like things are only getting worse, not better. The family is falling apart, and she's just tired of the drama. And it's not just about the money or the show. Toni seems to be done with all the toxic energy. When Tamar and Miss E had a cooking show premiere, none of the other sisters showed up. Just 2 days before the event, there was another big argument. After that, Towanda posted something online that said, "To everyone who has distanced themselves from me, kindly stay there." It looked like she was sending a message to her sisters. Towanda also got married to her longtime boyfriend, and while Toni and Trina were there as bridesmaids, Tamar wasn't. People noticed her absence, and it added more fuel to the rumors that Tamar and Towanda just don't get along. Later, things got even messier. Tamar went on social media and said her family was toxic. She said the gaslighting was so bad that she was going back into treatment. She even said she prayed her marriage could be saved and that her life could be spared. That shocked everyone. She posted again saying she was mad at her life and that she should have never come back to the family show. She even blocked Toni on social media, and Toni found out when she tried to tag Tamar on her birthday. Toni said, "I wanted to repost that gorgeous picture of you, but I'm blocked again." Then Tamar accused Toni of gaslighting and said she could have just called her instead of posting online. But just when you think things couldn't get worse, something new happened that left fans speechless.